Do you have a good feedback loop? Feedbacks from the right people are a tool that can make or break you. We all know that feedback means a comment about your work from a person important to you. So, in corporative environment, that is a feedback from your bosses or team leaders, and in freelancing and entrepreneurship, that is a feedback from a client. There are 3 pillars of a good feedback loop in STEM career. First, whose feedback are you listening to? The second one, what kind of a feedback do you get, constructive or not? And how can you learn to design your own metrics and give yourself feedback? So, let's start with whose feedback you listen to. No matter whether you are in a corporation, an entrepreneur, or a freelancer in STEM, you can apply the same principle for who you listen to and ask for an advice from. For guidance and mentorship, you listen to people whose results you want to have. So let me repeat this. It's very important to listen to people whose results you want to have. So if you are on your PhD studies, you listen to advice concerning PhD only to people who already accomplished what you want. So you listen to your mentors, colleagues, or friends with a PhD. But don't use this against you. You don't listen to these people and their advice on, for example, investing money or raising children, but only about PhD topics, because those are the results they have and you want. Because we often get caught up and motivated by our mentors in certain area, we think then that they are mentors for everything else. So while your friend with a PhD or your mentor who is a professor can give you advice what to eat, if they don't look and feel good in their body, their advice is not relevant for you because they don't have the result you want in that area. They can read all about healthy habits, new theories, but their formula is not proven to work in this area. On the other hand, if you work with clients, you should have an ideal client avatar in your mind when listening to feedback. So you don't ask for feedback from your worst clients, but from ideal ones you enjoy working with. Let's go on to another question. What kind of feedback do you get? When this question came to my mind, I realized that in many cases I didn't know what the real constructive feedback was until I started learning about kids. Raising kids is actually giving your feedback and help to them to learn how to live on their own. So you can give constructive feedback, but you can also yell, "This is bad, you're bad," when they do something wrong without ever explaining what was wrong in the first place. So, what is constructive feedback? It is feedback that explains exactly what you should fix and concrete actions you can do to fix that. Let's look at one example. You get feedback that your algorithm is not working good enough. That doesn't mean anything. On the other hand, if you have a demand that your algorithm for object tracking, for example, should work in real time, and real time is 1 frame per second for the specific case, but your algorithm takes more than 1 frame per second, then this is okay feedback. Even better, if a team lead tells you, optimize your code, we need it to work under 1 frame per second. This is feedback that is constructive. So when someone tells you this is not good and doesn't have metrics and proposals for you what to do, that feedback is not constructive. Yes, What I'm aware of is that this is maybe the way your parents, bosses, or professors used to talk with you, and you thought that this is okay. I'm telling you now exactly how constructive and usable feedback looks like. This is the feedback that you should listen to if the first condition is fulfilled. So, how can you learn to design your own metrics and give yourself feedback? Even when you have mentors and people that can give you feedback, it is good to have your own protocols to measure your performance and give yourself constructive feedback. This is especially important for situations where you realize that you don't have a constructive feedback loop, or when you realize that people who give you feedback are not the people you should listen to because they don't have the results you want. So first, you should have some performance metrics that are easy to track weekly, monthly, or yearly. As engineers, we are used to tangible metrics where we track through numbers, but we often forget to measure soft skills and mindset growth metrics that are not easily quantified. Therefore, apart from some performance measures that you can put a number on, it is a good practice to reflect on daily and weekly basis in your journal. How can you learn to design your own metrics and give yourself feedback? Even when you have mentors and people that can give you feedback, it is good to have your own protocols to measure your performance and give yourself constructive feedback. This is especially important for situations where you realize that you don't have a constructive feedback loop, or when you realize that people who give you feedback are not the people you should listen to because they don't have the results you want. So first, you should have some performance metrics that are easy to track weekly, monthly, or yearly. As engineers, we are used to tangible metrics where we track through numbers, but we often forget to measure soft skills and mindset growth metrics that are not easily quantified. Therefore, apart from some performance measures that you can put number on, it is a good practice to reflect on daily and weekly basis in your journal. If you don't have good metrics and practices established, I recommend defining career vision for the next 5 or 10 years or as far as you can go. Then list skills you will have to learn to accomplish those goals. Maybe at first point you will not be aware of all the skills you will need to accomplish goals you have, but just list what you know and add as you move. Now, when you have clear goals and vision for yourself, you can measure some performance metrics, but based on your own vision. What is important to emphasize is that by defining metrics this way, you measure exactly how far you are from your own vision and not how far you are from your boss's vision. The key difference is that having your own performance measures makes you take your life in your hands and you stop being in a victim mode where you don't know that you are doing something for the sake of your vision. That doesn't mean that you cannot work in a corporation. That just means that you can work in a corporation and be closer to your goals working there. It is the best possible scenario if your company's vision is in accordance with your own vision. This also makes you more satisfied within the role you currently have, but on the other hand, aware what you want for your future. This doesn't mean that you are rigid and you think you control everything. It makes you plan and adapt to current conditions. It can also open up some possibilities you didn't think were possible for you. Okay, now let's go back to practical implementation. So as much as reflection and metrics serve us, we must be careful not to waste too much of our energy in making plans and measuring performance. That is why I don't recommend daily goal setting. This is connected to goal setting and prioritization topics that are not the subject here currently. But here we focus just on metrics. So let's say you made a plan, prioritized, and now you just measure performance at work. So first, let's go through different areas you can address. For example, design thinking. So creativity, organization, ability to plan the system architecture, research skills, finding where you can contribute to your society in your specific area. Then we have theory and hard skills behind your work. For example, signal processing, object tracking, thermal vision, what you need for the area you work in. Then coding skills, Python, C#, C, or whatever you need for your current position and at what level do you need it. Then we have soft skills such as team communication, formulating ideas, going for win-win solutions, understanding and solving triggers at work, boundary setting, emotional regulation. Then we have presentation skills, making your work interesting to your audience, selling and marketing, sharing ideas and building meaningful connections. Then we have work on mindset, such as working on imposter syndrome, confidence, treating yourself as the most valuable asset. Then we have health, keeping energy levels high, eating clean, having optimal weight, being fit and able to do activities you want at your work and in life. Then we have relationship and community skills, etc. So you get the point. Now, when we mentioned some key areas, we can build our metrics around those areas. And it is time to see what to measure and what is important at the current moment. It is impossible for you to do everything at the same time. So this is the time for you to match your vision with 3 areas you want to focus on in the next 6 months. So you start with building those skills through projects. If you want to track your Python learning progress, then at work, you just learn, track, and implement. On weekly or monthly basis, you just track progress. If you want to improve communication skills, go and find a mentor or a course and start practicing every day at work, at home, etc. In summary, it is important who you listen to, what you listen, is it constructive or not, and it is important to track progress. I would like to hear from you how this way of looking at the feedback helped you in your career. If you want to work with me on your career challenges, then you can schedule free consultations. The link is in the description of this video. I have 1 space left in my mentorship program for STEM professionals. Thank you for listening and see you next week.